What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Wine in the Stars. I'm Jordan, and we're back today with another episode of the Yesterday's Enterprise build series in the 1701-C. Now, I have been preparing for this episode for the last couple of weeks. I've been doing a lot of prep, doing a lot of work. I could have recorded it and showed it to you guys, but really, I just want to get down to the nitty-gritty, and we're going to go ahead and do my custom lighting job for the nacelles today. I have already completed one, and before I show you guys the work, I'll go ahead and power it up too, because I can't wait to show you guys what we're about to get done for this one. But I've already gotten one side done, and I had to really take my time, figure out what I was doing, think about the build, so that I can properly teach this. I made a couple mistakes, some things that I learned, and it's just the way it rolls. And so this side on, I think this is going to be green, so this is going to be the starboard side. On the starboard side nacelle, we are going to get, we're going to do a better job than I did over on the port side. So, to start, we're bringing back all of the pieces that go for the nacelle. We have our frosted out Bussard collector clear part. We have our copper lined blue grills, chiller grills. We have the top and the bottom of our nacelle. I have gone ahead and fashioned, I just took a couple pieces of sprue actually out of, I think it was the, oh goodness me, I think it was a Razor Crest actually. I took a couple pieces of sprue out of the Razor Crest and basically glued them in place. I measured out and have everything all ready to go. But I have 3 posts in here. These two are exactly 15 millimeters apart, and then this one just kind of sits right up front. It doesn't really matter how far that way that was, but I did match it up with over on the other side. I have drilled a hole on the inside here to get our wires up through the pylons. I have also gone through and blacked out the inside just for some light blocking. It did wind up being necessary, especially over here in this area where we didn't get such a great job of paint with the Vallejo, if we do remember. So the light bleed definitely was a thing, and so I definitely needed to block that out. Also as well, I've created these little resin balls here that go on the top of the nacelles. Now, these are the formation lights and the running lights. I know the formation lights are supposed to be clear. There's nothing I can do about it. I didn't engineer it that way. I wasn't thinking about it, and it was brought up on stream, and so I just kind of fashioned something, and it kind of works. What I've done is just kind of took some 1 millimeter fiber optic, and then I just kind of dipped it into some UV resin, created a little ball on it, and then I went ahead and flashed it off. And then I went ahead and put it in some green paint, some fluorescent green paint, to see if we can pick up a little bit of the light that's coming from inside. I know it's not accurate. I understand that. It was a last minute thing. In the future, I'll make sure to definitely include my formation lights and running lights on my nacelles going forward. So, to move on to the lighting part of itself, this is just a 5-volt COB LED strip. This is a bright blue, and I believe this is the, I can't remember the exact. I'll go ahead and throw, not the link, I can't throw links down below, not until I have more subscribers, which is dumb. So subscribe. How about that? But I'll go ahead and give the exact description of what it is. But this is a COB LED light, and it glows nice and blue, and when inside the nacelles, gives a really, really nice effect. Basically, it looks like the warp coils inside, so it's pretty cool. And then, the thing that I kind of like the most, and the thing that I'm the most proud of, is I have fashioned, the shrink wrap is already on there ready to roll. I kind of forgot about that, if I'm being real. I'm super klutzy, guys. I can't help it. I'm sorry. Not sorry. But what I've done is I've taken 3 LEDs. All of them are red. One of them is a solid red, which is the solid red one up top. And then these 2 ones down here that I diffused and then kind of scraped some of the paint off to give a weird pattern on the front of are 2 breathing red LEDs. And the idea is is that when these go, they eventually, like, the longer they stay on, the more out of sync they get. Like, they get out of sync almost immediately. And so what I wanted to replicate is this sense that there is gases swirling inside of the Bussard collector. And I gotta say, it looks pretty good. Is there things that I could have done differently? Yes. Did I figure it out afterwards? Yes. And I'll get to that as we get to it. So, what we have are these two custom pieces and the custom posts that I've created. Now, let's go ahead and bring in the pylons and the nacelle that is completed. And this is actually the first bit of the model that has actually been fully assembled outside of this whole pylon section. And there, my friends, is the nacelle completed. Now, it's not lit up right now. I'm going to save that for the very end. But needless to say, I still need to... Oh, God. Well, if there is not an opportunity, we will talk about that as we go along. I need to get this a little bit more sealed in. This glue up here has been a little bit challenging. I've been very gentle, trying to be a little bit careful with this. So I got an idea for this one. I will be, when we get to that, we'll get to it. So go ahead and set this aside, and we will get that glued in later on. So I'm just actually going to set this off to the side now. As you can see here, we have our assembly already assembled on the other side, and here at the end, I'll get that glued in. And what my idea is, I'm not going to be cagey about it. I want to take some cotton, either a cotton ball or some ends of the Q-tips. I'm not sure if I have any cotton balls or if my girlfriend does. I'm not quite sure. But I'm going to grab some cotton, and I want to just kind of put it down in there for a little bit of light diffusion and to kind of give it a little bit of the depth of the swirl. So it's kind of frustrating that one, yeah, I was really struggling getting this glued this morning. Like, I was still gluing it before I got on stream earlier. So, yeah. But regardless, this turned out really well. When it's lit up, it looks really, really good. I have tested all my LEDs. I've let them run for about 12 to 24 hours to make sure that there was no issues. Generally, what you want to do is you want to power up your LEDs for about 12 to 24 hours and just let them run and don't turn them off. And you want to have them under the regular power that you're going to be putting them under. And if they last for 12 or 24 hours, you're going to get basically you're going to get the full lifetime out of those LEDs. And so I went ahead and already taken care of that for these strips as well here. So let's go ahead and get started. And I'm going to be doing this really in such a way that it's going to be, in essence, like I'm able to do a thing, and then I'm going to tell you what I did, because there's going to be a lot of struggle that's about to happen, because doing this is very fine work, and hopefully I'll be able to show you as much of this as possible. So what we're going to start with is getting our wires run up into the nacelle itself. Once we get our wires up, I am going to glue the nacelle down. I didn't do that the other night on stream, as I wanted to make sure that I hadn't had a chance to like test the LEDs yet. So I wanted to make sure that they had a chance to like break in for their day period. So what we're going to do is we're going to glue this down. And I'm going to be using regular Tamiya extra thin. Alright, so our wires are wired up through here. Let's go ahead and grab our glue. And I'm going to grab my extra thin. And I'm just going to put it on the very top here. I don't want to go crazy. I don't want to rub it up against the edge of the paint. So I'm just going to be putting it right here on the top. The extra paint, all of the extra paint that I have put down on this model, the fitment is really tight. Let's just say that way. Alright. So, now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my wires up through. And then I'm going to very carefully take this, push it up into its slot. There we are. Ooh, that was a sound. There we are. sitting level. Okay, so our nacelle is put into place. We got our wires running up through here. I'm going to go ahead and pull them off to the side. I'm going to be running all the wires. I thought about doing independent control with them, but as a matter of fact, let's go ahead and do some twisting real fast. And I'm going to go ahead and pull off a little bit more with my electronics or my wire tool here real quick. Thought about doing independent control, but I'm going to keep this one fairly simple, as I wasn't planning for the lighting in the original plans. So all of my models going forward, of course, are going to have lights, but I didn't really want that one to land in there, but no big deal. So I'll be planning for all of this going forward. So we're just going to kind of do the best that we can with what we got left here. And my decision making. As a matter of fact, I probably just did something really stupid. I don't need this much wire, but I think we'll be fine. So now, where we're going to start is going to be taking our Bussard collector and getting it put into place. Now, what we're going to do is make sure that this very finicky piece of shrink wrap makes its way back on here. There we are. Yeah, it's really small, tough clearance. Okay, so now I have the 3 posts. Now there is a resistor inside of this shrink wrap, and I've left my wires, my cathodes and my anodes really long, as I wanted to use them as a post. As you can see here, it's got a slight S bend to our LEDs, and I'm going to take it right through this post here, or I'm going to put the post in between these two right here, and I'm going to go ahead and set that one down into place right around there, and then I'm going to set my little Bussard collector thing here. Now I'm just going to kind of very slightly push down here, get these wires out of the way. Okay, now that that's put in place, what we're going to go ahead and do is get these glued in. Now, to do this, I'm actually going to take some CA, and I'm just going to put a very small amount. I want to make sure that all of my LEDs, also before I do this, are pointed in the right direction. I did test everything one last time before we got started on the episode as well. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little bit of CA, and I'm just going to put it directly in between. Oh god. And a little bit along the post. I need to make sure I leave enough space for the COB to attach. I'm going to go ahead and hold this in place, and I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, so we got that put into place. Now let's go ahead and take that shrink the shrink wrap that I basically very callously put over on the other side. Let's go ahead and get that threaded through and just ready to go for here. Now, let's go ahead and hook up our negatives that we have available. All right, we got our first negatives hooked up. Now, let's go ahead and hook up our power. And I don't know, I will pick one of the 2 wires. It doesn't really matter. Let's go ahead and grab this one and hook up our power here. Okay, so let's go ahead and test to make sure that everything's still good. I have to disconnect that negative right there in order to make sure we're good. So, get our negative and our positive. All right, we're good. Okay, now let's go ahead and I think that the issue that we're dealing with down here. Oh, I see. My little wiring harness down here where I was testing, the wires were touching. So no wonder it wasn't trying to work. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hook these two together, and I'll be right back. Wow, this stuff is super sticky. I have to get this like cleared out of the way here. So, there we are. Now, very carefully, just kind of route it through here. This is not a precise application, guys, at all. So I'm just going to take on the outside of this negative terminal. I'm going to put this one here. Wrap it around, just like so. And set it on the other side of the negative terminal. Then, what I'm going to do is very simply squish the edges together. Very simple. Perfect. Turned out actually much better than the other side. The other side was a little bit of a pain. So I'm going to correct my measurement earlier. I did just make a quick cut. Yeah, that was 25 millimeters, not 30 millimeters is what I wound up cutting to. So now I'm going to grab, kind of route my wiring here underneath. And then I'm going to cut a small piece. Goodness me. Things everywhere now at this point. I'm going to cut a small piece over some shrink. And let's go ahead and run it through. Oh, let's go run it through this side, because I tinned this side already. I had done some thoughts, let's just say, of soldering in here, and I did that on the other side, and wound up melting the model a little bit. So lessons learned, my friends. So I'm just going to do this instead. So I'm going to take my shrink, pull it back over the top of the... Oh. Oh, there's another piece of it sitting right in front of me. Goodness me. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and connect these two, and then run our shrink over the top of it, our shrink wrap. And this should be most of everything powered up once we get the negative hooked up for that. So I'm going to very carefully tuck the wire, pull our shrink wrap up over the connection. Let me use my handy little heater here. Very nice. That was a nice little pickup that I got there. I was using a lighter for this before, and it was not good. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and hook into our negative. Alright, so that's all of our negative put together. Go ahead and get this heated up. Alright, so we got one more connection to make. Let's go ahead and grab some of our shrink wrap here. Grab a small piece, or did I already set one up? I did not. I did, actually. I was thinking. So now, let's just go ahead and get this connection made. Alright, we got our final connection made. Let's go ahead and get our shrink wrap done. Alright, so that should be everything wired up, and it is. So we're going to go ahead and tuck our wires down. And then to aid with the process of keeping them down, I'm going to go ahead and just take a little bit of super glue here and there and kind of get a little bundle of the wire together. Try to make sure we're staying out of where the grills are going to be. Now I'm just going to take a little bit of super glue and just kind of put it down into some spots. I want the negative here to move back a little bit. And to make sure it stays, a little bit of CA. I'm going to go ahead and hold this in place and we'll be right back. Alright, all of our wires are set, and I realize that I didn't test first, and so let us pray that I got this right. Alright, so this bundle is marked with the yellow. So I'm going to go ahead and combine my positive sources. One thing I'm finding is that 30 gauge, or is this 30 or 28? Can't remember now at this point, is super difficult to twist. So, start with our negative. And for the moment of truth, oh buddy, everything's lighting up. Perfect. Oh, thank God. Oh, we did it, my friends. Very nice. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I am just going to go through and straighten this out a little bit. Tighten it down around that post. If I would have done this differently, I would have put one in the middle as well. But I also needed to think about wires coming up through the top. So now, what we're going to do is very carefully, let's see here, very carefully get our chiller grills put into place. And we're going to start there, and we're going to start on the bottom. So to do so, I'm going to take my extra thin, and I'm going to simply just put one dot in each one of these 4 holes. Now, I'm going to very carefully get them into their lug spots. And then, while there's still a little bit of separation happening, I see that there's going to be, I'm just looking for spots where there's going to be gaps. And specifically right here is where our gap is going to be. So what I'm going to do is just put a little extra glue along that spot. Otherwise, he's sitting here really nice. I was kind of surprised by that. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and get these set into place, hold this for a couple minutes, and I will be right back. Alright, we're ready for our next chiller grill. Let's go ahead and get our glue in place. And I'm going to run just a little bit of glue up the side of the chiller grill here and get it turned towards me. And just like before, I'm going to see if there's a gap spot, and it is in the same exact spot directly in the middle. Same mistake I made over there. So basically I just took a little bit of the glue and it got outside the panel and got some of the black paint on the outside. I'll correct that and we'll get back. We'll fix that later. God. I'm going to go ahead and hold this in place and we'll be back. Alright, that chiller grill's in. Now, it seems like I'm a little loose here. I will deal with that off camera. Just going to take a little bit of glue and go along the outside very carefully. More carefully than I can do right now. Okay, so now let's go ahead and grab our Bussard collector. We're having some trouble, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take some of... I don't have any, I just checked to see. I'm going to take off a bunch of this cotton here from the end of some cotton swabs. And I am going to put it, spread it out a little bit, and put it into the end of the Bussard collector for a little bit of light diffusion. So that should be enough for that one. Let's see how this goes. Kind of separate these parts out. And what I'm hoping is that this is going to give this more of a gaseous sort of effect. So I'm going to test that real quick. Make sure I'm not doing something stupid before sealing it in. Which, you know, I could very well do. Very, very much a thing that I can do. It's very much a thing that I do. Alright. Ooh. Getting all tangled up in my wires here. Oh. Okay, so what I need to do is pull this apart a little bit more, and I will be right back. Okay, so I went ahead and pulled those apart much better. Didn't have to use nearly as many either. Let's go ahead and give this a try. I'm experimenting live on camera, by the way. So, that's a thing. Oh, yeah. That is 100% what we're doing. Very nice. Okay, I'm going to reserve this off for the other side. Go ahead and get our power disconnected here. Okay, so now I'm going to very carefully remove that. Leave that all nice and packed in there, just like so. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a good bead of glue right here along the outside. And I don't know if I put enough glue on the other side or not, but what I'm going to do is get this set into its groove. Make sure it's all set down there real nice. Very good. And the paint tolerance is definitely helping with all of that process. And so now we're ready to assemble the top of the nacelle. So first what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of glue here on each one of our lugs. And then along the top here. And then each one of our lug holes for the chiller grills is going to get some glue in it. Like the dip and then place. Alright. So now I'm going to take a little bit of this glue here, match it up along this side. And over here. And we're going to go ahead and get our nacelle cinched down and into place. Oh my goodness, you guys, that went together real nice. Okay, I am going to seal these together, fix this side real quick, and I'll let this dry, and then we're going to come back and review the work that was just done. We'll be back. All right, we're back. Good morning. It's the next morning. I went ahead, it was getting pretty late last night, and so I wound up just clamping everything down. turn on the LEDs, basically let everything run, make sure once again that everything was working properly. And my friends, it turned out really good. There was a couple of mistakes, and I'll point them out here in a second. Things that I've learned first, for as much engineering as you do, you need to also be willing to shift gears on the fly. On this side, my beacons turned out really, really well. For whatever reason, the green fluoresces really, really well. The red over here just does not. It doesn't light up. It doesn't do anything. I should have engineered that a little bit better. And if I had been thinking ahead, I would have wired for the beacons as well, or I would have thought about it during the engineering. I was too far along in the process by the time that this was happening. So that was kind of my one regret. Another regret is getting the soldering iron right there. That's the thing. Like, I was just kind of like trying to do some work. This nacelle is the one that I put together on my own, off camera, and basically got ready to do this one, which turned out much better. Like, this engineering was so much better. This took a couple days. This took literally about 45 minutes. So, overall, I definitely learned a lot. I also got a little bit of glue, pulled a little bit of the black from the inside there, and also happened to do that there as well. Otherwise, everything turned out remarkably well. I was able to get this Bussard collector put back in place. I stuffed it full of cotton, and I gotta say that look just looks amazing. Now, I'm about to fire this up and show you guys what it looks like. My fear is, however, is that my camera is going to blow out the LEDs and it's not going to look as good. I'm going to look into figuring out how to photograph this model when it's lit up, and to be able to do so and show you guys on screen what it looks like for the next episode. So I need to ask a couple people, and if you guys know anything, I do have a better camera coming this week, so that's kind of like one of the exciting things. So maybe that might not be the case, but even then, if you guys do know some tips and tricks about lighting or what have you, so that I can photograph this for you guys to really show the effect. I am worried, however, just a little bit of forewarning, I am a little worried that there's going to be some blowout happening. So let's go ahead and power it up. And you guys, I'm super excited about this. It turned out so good. So I have all my positives. I did not give myself also as well. Like, I need to do some more work with soldering and electronics. Definitely a noob at all of this, and so the fact that I even got a decent job out of this is kind of blowing my mind. Just a little bit, if I'm being real. So, alright, now let's go ahead and grab our negatives. And I'm going to go ahead and hit the overhead lights. I think that's going to be an appropriate amount of light. And, oh no, I turned off my side monitor, and that's fine. The stupid things all have the same remote control code. So, dun 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 dun. Here we go. Oh, anticlimactic. I can't see. All right, there we are. Now, I did just take a look at the camera. Unfortunately, it is getting blown out despite having lights low. I tried lights high. I can't. It's just awful. But we're just going to go ahead and stick with this one. It's the best view that of what I got. And this is the top view. And this is what I'm saying. When these beacons turned out really, really good, I was hoping for this one to, I don't know, be a little like blinky, catch the strobe in the Bussard, but that didn't happen. And then the reds just did not. It didn't happen. So that's just the reality of it. Let's go ahead and turn it on its side. I'm going to be careful with my connections here. But there it is. I can't wait for the new camera. So I'm kind of standing up and watching my phone right now. So yeah, this is how it all turned out. Man, this is getting blown out. So I'm hoping that the Bussard's coming through right now I'm going to kind of hold it still. You can see them moving around inside, and with the cotton balls in there, it gives it some really nice light diffusion. It gives a real sense of some gas swirling. Once again, like I said, I'm going to research how to photograph this, film this better for y'all so you can really see what's done. But overall, I mean, I am just blown away. Blown away. This is actually the thing that I realized too, is that this is the first thing that on this model that's been fully assembled. And yeah, I'm actually really excited about that. Everything turned out really, really good. There's a little light bleed here and there, things that I've learned. I'm just going to accept it and move on. But yeah, so there it is. The custom lighted nacelles by Aligning the Stars. If we can call it such a thing. So I'm going to go ahead and set this down. I've twisted the wires up a little bit. I need to stop doing that. So there we are, my friends. I am pretty excited about the work that was done here. Like I said, for the next episode, I'm going to figure out how to photograph this better so that you guys can get a real good sense of what this actually looks like. But from my perspective, even this close, it looks amazing. And the first fully custom lit job of any model that I've ever done, outside of like fiber optic stuff when I was a kid. And that was like the fiber optic Enterprise, or no, excuse me, the fiber optic Deep Space Nine, and it was just awful. So I think you could still buy that kit these days, actually. And it's overpriced. If you see the fiber optic Deep Space Nine from the 90s, do not buy it. It is awful. So anyway, that's what I got for you today, and I just want to say thank you. I know that there was a million things you guys could have done today. Instead, you spent a couple minutes with me, watching me light up a model, which I think is pretty damn cool. If you guys have any questions, comments, tips, tricks, please leave them down below. If you'd like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. And my friends, until we see each other again, I hope you all have a wonderful day in this beautiful world where we happen to be. And just remember that revenge is a dish best served cold.